call to order meeting of Cortland City Council for today, Monday, April 7th, 2025. I'd like everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a brief prayer. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege and the opportunity to serve you and to serve the city. We ask for your wisdom and guidance on the decisions before us this evening. We ask this in your name. Amen. Here, Rhonda, can I have a roll call, please?
Jim Bradley.
Here.
Kathy Fleischer.
Here.
Dick McLean. Don Moore.
Here.
John Bucuri.
Here.
Scott Rowley.
Here.
Kevin Pyros.
Here. May I have a motion for the approval of minutes from the March 17th, 2025 council meeting?
So moved. Second.
Any corrections? Rhonda, can I have a roll call, please?
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Don Moore.
Yes.
John Bucuri.
Yes.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
I'm looking at the next name. I apologize. Jim Bradley
Abstain.
and Kevin Pyros.
Yes. May I have a motion for the schedule of bills to be paid totaling $233,243.26.
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Rhonda, can I have a roll call, please?
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Bucuri.
Yes.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. We have a number of items on old business. First up is ordinance O-06-25, an ordinance amending ordinance O-56-22, and codified ordinance 505.11, allowing controlled deer hunting with bow and arrow or crossbow and bow within the city of Cortland during the state of Ohio's deer hunting season. This is the third reading submitted by Councilman Bradley. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Rhonda, can I have a roll call, please?
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Bucuri.
Yes.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. Okay, next is ordinance O-07-25, an ordinance amending ordinance O-52-22 to update the civil services laws in the city of Cortland, county of Trumbull, state of Ohio. This is the third reading submitted by the police chief and the Civil Service Commission. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Rhonda, can I have a roll call?
John Bucuri.
Yes.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. Okay, ordinance O-09-25, an ordinance amending the planning and zoning code and the general offenses code of the city of Cortland to modify and clarify language regarding barbed wire fences. This is the second reading submitted by the Planning and Zoning and Building Commission. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? I'd like to have a roll call.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Bucuri.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. The ordinance O-10-25, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Alexander's Pest Control, Inc. for mosquito control. This is the second reading submitted by the interim service director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Rhonda, can I have a roll call?
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Bucuri.
Yes.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. And that concludes our old business. We're going to move on to new business. First up is Resolution R-17-25, a resolution in support of State Issue 2, renewal of the State Capital Improvement Program on the May 6th, 2025 statewide ballot. This is submitted by the mayor. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Comments, Mayor?
We need this money. It provides us with money. It's important that we support it and that our residents support it as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Rhonda, can I have a roll call?
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Bucuri.
Yes.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes.
You know what, and let me say one more thing. I think it's important that we let our residents know it's not gonna cost them any more money. Okay, this is a program that's already been in the works, it will continue to be in the works, it's not gonna cost them any more money. Thank you, I'm sorry I didn't say that before.
No, thank you, Mayor.
It has to be renewed like every 10 years?
Correct.
And this is like the fourth time or something, so it's been around.
And it's from the state budget, not our property taxes.
That's correct. That's, okay, very good. All those good comments.
Thank you, everyone. Next, Resolution R-18-25, a resolution creating the position of Compliance Coordinator for the City of Portland and establishing the jobs and responsibilities and essential duties and functions for the position, submitted by the Interim Service Director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Comments? Anything you want to add, Sean?
Yeah, so this is just a continuation of the conversation we've been having since January about realigning the staff and putting them in positions to maximize their efficiency and allocate, city resources in the most efficient way as possible.
Any other questions? Rhonda, can I have a roll call, please?
Don Moore,
Yes.
John McCurry,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Kevin Parrot.
Yes. Next is Resolution R-19-25, a resolution authorizing the distribution of city wages from certain municipal funds, submitted by the Finance Director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Due to the new position, we needed to add it to update the resolution on the distribution where the wages are coming from. Just some housekeeping.
Patty, any questions? Hey, Rhonda, can I have a roll call, please?
Don Moore,
Yes.
John McCurry,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Kevin Parrot.
Yes. Okay, next is ordinance O-13-25, an ordinance repealing ordinance O-37-24, which appointed and set the wages and benefits and established the terms of employment for the Associate Service Director of the City of Portland, Ohio. This is an emergency submitted by the Interim Service Director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a motion on the emergency, please?
So moved.
Second.
Sean?
Again, this is, just realigning the staff, so you're repealing the wages and the benefits established by this ordinance, because we're shifting both of these individuals out of this position. We're not eliminating the position, but we're shifting them out of it, and we're assigning them to other areas where there's a greater demand.
And these positions will remain vacant.
For now, yes.
I think it's important that council realize, that we are in a state of flux in the service department, and just because we have a gentleman called a compliance coordinator, I'm not big on names or titles, you guys know that. But the fact that we, what the compliance coordinator is doing this month may not be what the compliance coordinator is doing 5 months from now, okay? Because we have different tasks that need to be accomplished between now and then, and into the future. So I just wanted to make council aware of that. We are still moving, changing, moving forward.
Thank you, Mayor. So again, this is going back to tying in with the previous, we're creating a compliance coordinator, but we're, at this point, de-assigning the associate service directors.
Yes, both of them.
Any other questions? And again, this will then go for the next ordinance as well, so they'll be tied together. All right. Rhonda, can I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John McCurry.
Yes.
Kevin Parrot.
Yes. And now a roll call on the ordinance, please.
John McCurry,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
Kevin Parrot.
Yes. Okay, ordinance O-14-25, an ordinance repealing ordinance O-36-24, which appointed and set the wages and benefits and established the terms of employment for the Associate Service Director of the City of Cortland, Ohio. This is an emergency submitted by the Interim Service Director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a motion on the emergency, please?
So moved. Second.
Again, this is related to the ordinance we just voted on, where the second Associate Service Director position being filled is being repealed, and that individual would be reassigned within the Service Director, or the Service Department. Any additional questions on this ordinance? Okay. Rhonda, can I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Burkuri,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. And now a roll call on the ordinance, please.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Burkuri.
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. Okay, next is ordinance O-15-25, an ordinance appointing and setting the wages and benefits and establishing the terms of employment for the compliance coordinator of the City of Cortland, Ohio. This is an emergency submitted by the Interim Service Director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
And a motion on the emergency, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
No questions, I just want to also go on the record, because I think when people read the minutes, or if they only read, if they don't really read all of the minutes, then I think it's great that we're able to tell our citizens, hey, we no longer have two associate service directors, it's just a real alignment within the department, which I think makes a lot of people, in the city, I think they'll be happy to hear that would say, hey, we ran like this, and now we've taken a look at it, we've been able to make changes, and this makes better sense. So I think, if people are just scrolling through these minutes wondering, what's going on, like we're all trying to talk about, just trying to make sure I have a blurb in there so that people understand, hey, we went from two, we no longer have two associate service directors, just a realignment within the department, and, I think that will make people, when they read through it, just understand that that's what we're doing here.
Making the best use of the funds of the city. The best use of those funds. Thank you, Jim. Any other questions? Okay. Rhonda, a roll call on the emergency, please.
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Burkuri,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. Okay, ordinance O-16-25. Oh, I'm sorry, the ordinance itself, please.
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Burkuri.
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. Thank you for catching on that. Next is ordinance O-16-25, an ordinance authorizing the City of Cortland to pick up the statutorily required contribution to the Ohio Public Employees Retirement System for a certain employee of the City of Cortland pursuant to IRC Section 401H2. This is an emergency submitted by the Finance Director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a motion on the emergency, please?
So moved.
Second.
More housekeeping. This is just to add the compliance coordinator to our PRS ordinance. It's just more housekeeping.
And I would actually like to clarify, to Councilman Bradley's point, for whoever's scrolling through the minutes, no new money, right? So this is just a reallocation of expenditures, and everything that has been done, everything you voted on today is going to save this service department roughly $120,000 per year going forward. So the realignment of staff is allowing us to save about $120,000. But this motion specifically, it's a pickup, it's standard procedure, no new money whatsoever. You're just doing it for housekeeping.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Rhonda, can I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Burkuri.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. And now on the ordinance, please.
John Burkuri,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Don Moore,
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. Okay, next is ordinance O-17-25, an ordinance authorizing the interim service director to purchase an Exmark zero-turn mower from Bortnick Tractor Sales, Inc. This is an emergency submitted by the service director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a motion on the emergency, please?
So moved. Second.
The reason for the emergency, Sean, is that,
We're headed into spring, and doing 3 readings would put us well into May. We'd like to purchase this tractor now so that we can beautify the city for our lovely taxpayers.
and with the potential threat of tariffs, this probably is locking in a price too, correct?
Yes, sir, but I was not gonna go on record as being the one who said that, so I'm glad you.
I will say.
This locks in the price, and we know what the cost is now, there's no unknowns, and allows us to purchase this immediately without having to go back and amend something in May due to increased terms. But most importantly, one of them has been a high maintenance issue, and it's just not dependable, and we need to get to our spring mowing.
All right. I will ask you to come to the podium, because with that, it's, you know, going forward with the thing, it's gonna be tough to pick you up.
You want me to stand there for the next 5 minutes?
For the next 2 minutes, we'll get through these. But, I don't know, there's not a way to turn this, yeah, we've checked. But I think that fan doesn't.
It's been running for 3 months, nobody can figure it out.
Is that the scrubber?
I don't know what it is. It should shut, if that's the case, it should shut off.
I think Kim had guys to look at it, they couldn't figure it out.
Without cutting the wire?
Yeah.
Want me to cut the wire?
Yeah.
New system. We do that.
Okay, so any other questions on the zero turn? Okay, Rhonda, can I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Don Moore,
Yes.
John McCurry.
Yes.
Scott Rowley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kevin Pyro.
Yes, and the ordinance, please.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Don Moore,
Yes.
John McCurry.
Yes.
Scott Rowley,
Yes.
Kevin Pyro.
Yes. Next is ordinance O-18-25, an ordinance authorizing the interim service director to purchase a utility trailer from Leonard Truck and Trailer, Inc. This is an emergency submitted by the interim service director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
A motion, on the emergency, please?
So moved.
Second.
So the utility trailer that exists now is kind of like Frankenstein. It's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of that. The frame's damaged, the one wheel is cattywampus, it's not at a right angle, there's no brakes on it. It's very unsafe for our employees. So what we did was we went to 5 different local distributors, we got 2 prices, 2 were responsive, they could meet our needs, we chose the local, as we did with the mower previously. We try to spend money local in this county, within the city if possible. So this was the best price we have, and this is frankly a safety issue.
Thank you, Sean. Any additional questions? Okay, Rhonda, roll call on the emergency, please.
Don Moore,
Yes.
John McCurry,
Yes.
Scott Rowley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Kevin Pyro.
Yes, and on the ordinance, please.
Don Moore,
Yes.
John McCurry,
Yes.
Scott Rowley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Kevin Pyro.
Yes. Ordinance O-19-25, an ordinance authorizing the interim service director to purchase a refurbished blower motor for a utility truck from Hicks Municipal and Industrial LLC. This is an emergency submitted by the interim service director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a motion for the emergency, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right, so this is, so the blower motor on the utility truck is what we use to blow out stormwater lines and stuff where the leaves collect and everything like that. The motor that exists now has been slowly failing, so the power is significantly diminished. That's why it's an emergency, because again, we have spring cleanup coming. This is a specialty item, so the mower itself is large. We ordered the truck from Hicks. We were only able to secure 2 quotes, one of which was on the west side of Cleveland. That was the lower of the 2. However, it's lowest and best. Hicks is the one who sold us it, so Hicks knows the equipment. Hicks gave us a price to reman the motor. We're comfortable with that. If you look at the lower bid, although it was lower, there's an asterisk with it, and it says it depends on the man hours. So because that company's unfamiliar with it, that could potentially exceed, and again, Hicks is the one who built it and installed it, they're familiar with it, so we're maintaining a relationship we have with the existing supplier. So that is why I'm recommending you go with the more expensive of the two, because it's the one I can guarantee.
Any questions? Thank you for that. Very good explanation. Rhonda, may I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley, Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Burkiri.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. And now on the ordinance, please.
John Burkiri.
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. Okay, next is ordinance O-20-25, an ordinance authorizing the interim service director to direct ASI Environmental to replace guide rails and brackets in pump well house number 2. This is emergency submitted by the interim service director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
May I have a motion on the emergency, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right, so pump well house number 2, that's actually a newer well house, okay? So this thing is less than 10 years old. However, when it was spec'd out and when it was built using galvanized steel, okay? So it's a well, it's a very wet condition. Galvanized steel rusts at a greater rate than anything else. It's not here, obviously, so I do not know why they chose galvanized steel. However, we were at the point where the guide rails, so the way it works, the pumps that slide into the well that go into the ground, that's what has rusted to the point of failure. It is an emergency because we can't put any new equipment on and put it down. We can't bring the equipment up. We need to replace it in order to have the well service the city. The well goes down, we in the city gets water, and that's just not a good situation. So, we've had the prices came back. I specifically directed stainless steel. Stainless steel will last you well into hopefully most of your retirement. So it should not be an issue going forward. I apologize that it was only a 9-year-old well house, however, it is what it is, and it is rusted to the point where it's no longer functional. And we need to replace it so that we can continue to pump water for the good city of Portland. Any
Thank
questions?
Thank you. Any questions? All right. Rhonda, can we roll call on the emergency, please?
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Burkiri.
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. And now a roll call on the ordinance, please.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Burkiri.
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. All right, that concludes our new business. We're going to move on to reports. First up is the fire department. I do not see anybody here representing. Do you have anything there?
I do not.
Oh, Sean, I should have kept you back up there. Service department.
I have nothing further to add.
Thank you.
I would just like to commend Sean for all the work he has done in this, getting this all together, organizing the service department. Not an easy job, and taking care of the things we need and appreciate that.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
That's second that. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I'm having fun, so I appreciate the opportunity.
We appreciate everything you're doing, definitely. Finance department, Patty.
I have nothing to report, but we're happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? All right, police department, Chief Morris, can you beat that?
Well, I'll go one thing, we did get awarded a grant for about $6,300 for, cloud space for body cameras. So we will have to buy the body cameras ourselves, but they're relatively inexpensive, so I was thankful for that grant, but other than that, I have nothing else. I'll entertain the questions you might have.
Any questions? Thanks, Chief. All right, Mayor.
I have two things. First of all, I am very happy to report that we had a very successful meeting with the EPA and our newest representative. I can't remember Nico's last name, so if anybody wants to, nobody's here to help me out. Anyway, his name is Nico. We had no violations. Yes, So, I would like to recognize those people who contributed to this. That would be Christine Dorma, who helped assemble all the information, Chris Miner for his technical knowledge and expertise, Michael Smith and Jason McCullum, who worked on updating the backflow prevention equipment and followed through on the lead service line inventory, and to Sean, also, who helped coordinate all this information. So, I'm very pleased and proud of everybody who did that, and you should be very grateful to the people who work for this city. Second of all, Eastern Power and Gas, our gas aggregate. Patrick and I have been working with them because they sent us a notice that says that they wanted to renegotiate our contract, which we have a contract with them through September of 2026. And they cited several reasons or issues for why they should be allowed to renegotiate the contract. However, Patrick and I concur, and Patrick, feel free to speak up anytime, that these were not legitimate reasons to allow them. And it's the position of this city that we will, that they must perform on the contract. Okay, and, it was brought up, well, Enbridge is the, the ultimate overseer of the aggregate program. So I reached out to, my contact at Enbridge to talk to higher up people there to see what their input was, because it was being alleged, well, now that Enbridge is involved, now then we don't have any choice. Well, Enbridge's advice to the city was file a complaint with the PUCO, which I did. And I talked to the PUCO today, and they have as much information as they need at this time. Whether they will reach out to us in the future, I'm unaware, I'm not aware yet, but we are fighting to make sure that they perform the contract which we negotiated with them.
That's 100% correct. There was maybe 2 or 3 reasons that Eastern Power and Gas could get out of their contract or force us to renegotiate the rates, and they didn't meet any one of those reasons. Yeah, we shared that with the broker. We shared that directly with Eastern Power and Gas. They just keep pushing forward as though those reasons exist. And initially, they made the mayor and I feel like we were being isolated, but there are a number of public entities in Northeast Ohio in the same boat and saying the same thing to Eastern Power and Gas. There's no reason to renegotiate. You guessed wrong, or you bet wrong. We took, we negotiated a contract in good faith, and we want you to live up to it. So.
There are two communities, both of which their mayors are attorneys, and they are in agreement with their law directors that they don't have, they don't have standing to not perform this contract. So they were able to get a lot of communities to drop out and take the new offer, which is 5 cents off the Enbridge price, which is now over $5, and we're at $3.75. So, anyway, so there's that.
We'll have a new gas supplier next year, I guess.
After 2026, yes. Yeah, because I'm gonna guess they probably wanna do business with us anymore.
Yeah,
But that's okay. That's okay.
When does the electric,
The electric aggregation is coming up, this summer. Okay, I've been talking to Tom Bellish, our aggregator, like every 2 months. And most recently, we spoke in March, and you read the news, with the tariffs and everything, and the talk about the federal energy bills and all that kind of stuff. The market's a mess. So, we're gonna, hopefully it'll settle down within the next couple of months. We'll make it, our best attempt, and we'll go from there. Unfortunately, that's the best we can do.
Thank you, both for the work you did to argue the reopening of our contract.
not right.
No. And please, pass our thanks on to all those you mentioned who helped with the EPA.
I certainly will. Certainly will.
Any questions of the mayor? Okay, thank you again, Mayor. Are there any committee reports this evening?
TRC met before the meeting today, and we just discussed current and future projects.
Thank you. Any other committees? Any announcements from council?
Kind of my only announcement is, 55 years ago today, my dad came home from Vietnam. So it's always a big thing in our house, so I always felt like our Vietnam vets never got the love that they deserved when they came home. So for my father, welcome home, 55 years today.
Awesome. Please tell him thank you for his service.
All right, is there anyone from the audience with questions of council?
Then I'd like to move for an executive session to discuss personnel, specifically consider employment of a public employee, inviting the council, the mayor, and the moderator.
Second, please.
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Burkiri,
Yes.
Scott Riley, Jim Bradley,
Yep.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Kevin Pirate.
Yes. Okay, we will adjourn into executive session. No decisions will be made, and then